Hello, everyone. Welcome to Talk to Experts Tuesday. We are so excited to have all of you here with us today. My name is Jami Gregory, and I will be the moderator for your session today. This is a webinar series that was designed to give all of you an hour with a few of our product experts. You can use this time to ask them questions, and it also gives you an opportunity to get to know some of us. So today's topic is Qlik Sense Enterprise Client Managed. And we do have a few housekeeping items for today, of course. Everyone is on mute, so please use the Q&A panel to ask your questions. We will not necessarily be using the panel to respond to your questions, as we're going to try to get to everyone's questions live today. If you hopped on to get your question answered and then you have to leave, that's fine. You should receive a prompt for a survey. Please take this survey. It takes less than a minute to fill out, and you can give us feedback on how we can improve these sessions for you, or you can offer up another topic that you would like to see for a future session. We've had some great suggestions like security rules in Qlik Sense, using multiple Qlik products together, scalability testing, QlikView object sharing. Really, the sky is the limit. We just want to make sure that we're allowing all of you an opportunity to get some of your questions answered. So again, all feedback is appreciated. And if you do not receive the prompts for the survey, you can email us feedback at any time at digital@qlik.com. And I will make sure to put that email address in the chat in a little bit. All right, so please keep in mind that even though some of our panelists are within Qlik support, we will not be able to answer any questions regarding a specific case. And we also ask that you, again, keep the questions related to the topic at hand. So use the Q&A panel below to get your questions in. And while we wait for you to enter in all your questions, I will go ahead and take the time to introduce the panel. So today is a very special day for us here with Talk to Experts Tuesday. We have Kathy Hickey, Vice President of Product Management, joining us today. And along with Kathy, we have Damien Villaret, Senior Technical Support Engineer, who is becoming a regular on these sessions. Johnny Poole, of course, who has the best title in the entire company, Master Principal Analytics Platform Architect, and newcomer to these sessions, Mike Reese, Solution Architect Manager. All right, so if you guys wouldn't mind to go ahead and introduce yourself, Kathy, if you could start.
Great, thanks, Jamie. Hi, everyone. My name is Kathy Hickey. I am responsible for product management here at Qlik. And looking forward to seeing what the questions are that you have and to provide you with insights into kind of where we're taking the product.
Great. Thank you, Kathy. And Damien.
Hi, everyone. My name is Damien. I work in Lund in Sweden as a senior technical support engineer. My main focus is authentication and APIs, and I've been with Qlik since 2013. I look forward to your questions.
Perfect. Thank you, Damien. How about you, Johnny?
Hello, everyone. My name is Johnny Poole. I've been with Qlik about 10 years, and I work in Qlik's pre-sales division as a platform architect.
Perfect. Thank you. And Mike.
Hey, everyone. Mike Reese. I manage the Southeast pre-sales team as well as the Inside pre-sales team. I'm based out of North Carolina, originally from Philly. And I've been with Qlik about 6 years in pre-sales, and I also worked in the consulting space with Qlik going back to 2008. So I've worked on versions of QlikView going back to version 6. So know a little bit about the product, and I'm looking forward to seeing what questions you guys have.
Great, thank you. Thank you, everyone. Again, my name is Jami Gregory, and I'm the Community Operations Manager here at Qlik. I'm in Raleigh, North Carolina, and have been with Qlik for about 3.5 years. And my primary focus right now is administering the back end of Qlik Community, which I'm sure I will show you a little bit out in the Qlik Community a little later today. Something else that I want to just bring up really quickly is that we are doing a giveaway today. So if you, of course, join the session and you fill out the survey at the end of the session, or again, if you have to leave, you should still get prompted. Fill out the survey, let us know your feedback. You can also give shout outs to our panelists, our amazing panelists on the call for any question that they may answer. Just give them a shout out that you appreciate their help, and you will be entered in to win some Qlik swag. So that is really exciting, and I hope everyone will take the opportunity to fill out that survey. Again, it takes less than a minute. So let's go ahead and jump into our questions. Again, use the Q&A panel to get your questions in. Let's see, the first question we have today is, kind of a long one, so bear with me. We've upgraded to patch 8. It doesn't say specifically which version. I think patch 8 is, I think it's February 2021 though. However, we are not seeing the bar and area chart for bullet chart or bullet chart. Patch 6 indicates that it was fixed and the patches are cumulative, but we aren't seeing these 2 chart objects in the visualization bundle. Does anyone have any insight on this or is experiencing this as well? Do we need to reinstall the visualization bundle after the patch is applied?
I can talk on this one.
Perfect.
The bar and area chart. I will share my screen.
Sure, let me stop sharing.
I think I need to stop. Are you seeing my QMC?
Yes.
Okay. So the reason why you can't see this chart is because this has been deprecated. You will still be able to see it installed here in the QMC, but when you try to create a new object, a new chart from the hub, it won't be available. And you can check that by checking the file of the extension. So if you go in the shared folder, and go here, and when it comes to the bar area chart, is this one. And if you check this file, you will see that there is the deprecation date here. So if now in any version that you're using, as the date has already passed, if there's this line in this file, then you won't be able to see the chart from the hub. So we won't let you create new objects because we want to promote the use of standard objects that have included those features instead.
Perfect. Thank you, Damien. Does anyone else have anything to add? Nope. Okay, no problem. All right, great. Thank you, Damien. I will go ahead and share my screen back. You can see the PowerPoint, correct? Yes, okay, great, thank you. All right, let's see, the next question. I would like to know when or what version Qlik Sense Client Managed will support groups via OpenID Connect. We have deployed Okta integration for a client and the groups are available in Qlik SaaS, but not available in Qlik Sense on Windows.
Yeah, so Jamie, I'll dive into this one. Just really quick, I'm actually digging in to find out specifically if that is one of the items that we're able to deploy on Qlik Sense Windows. So hold that one, I'll come back to it after.
Okay.
Do a little digging in.
Sounds good. Perfect. Thank you. All right, so the next question, they say, thank you for taking my question. When replicating from DB2 to SQL Server, we have noticed that Qlik occasionally truncates one or more SQL Server tables. Does this Qlik software have a setting where the SQL Server truncate can be avoided? We want to perform operations on the SQL Server table that cannot be used with truncate. Johnny looks like he's thinking.
Yeah, I cannot think of a reason why it would be issuing truncate commands if it's just a simple load. That's why I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm not sure how the truncate would be called.
Removes all rows from a table. So why would we be removing table? Like maybe a temp table? But I don't think Qlik would be doing that specifically. Wondering if this is a stored procedure of some kind that's being called, maybe. We
Okay.
typically don't do any kind of write back or change back to the database.
Right.
Okay. If there's some more information that that person can provide, if it is like a stored procedure, they're also saying occasionally that it occasionally truncates one or more SQL Server tables, and we might need some more background information on this. Something, if you haven't already, I would suggest out in the Qlik community, you can post these kinds of questions, and you can also share, you know, files if you have like a sample file or any screenshots or anything like that. So out on the Qlik community, that's community.qlik.com. You could go to the forums, then data analytics, Qlik Sense, and probably, you know, app development or something like that. Even new to Qlik Sense, I think would be okay, even though you might not be new. But you could just go ahead and post your question here. So post a question. You could also search out in here as well, see if anyone else has come against this, run into this issue. But any information that you can provide, the more information, the better. Screenshots, even sample QVFs or something like that. I don't know if that would help in this case, but just a little bit more background information, the version of Qlik Sense that you're using. You could post a question here. People like Johnny are always out in the community, and we have a lot of internal people out in the community, and then obviously all of our customers and clients are very, very helpful with these kinds of scenarios. So hopefully they can help with that as well. Okay, so the next question. On February 2021, has map substring function also changed? We had it on quite a few of our apps and it stopped working since we've upgraded. Does anyone know anything about the map substring function having changed?
I haven't heard about
what
any
change?
change.
I would say, I would ask the question, what's their perception that changed? The expression is still there, and it's looking for a map name and an expression that shows examples of it. So just be curious to know a little bit more about what the issue is.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, we need an example. Maybe it stopped working in specific scenarios.
Okay. Yeah, so if you could provide a little bit more information on what's changed or what stopped working since the upgrade, we might have a little bit more specific information. It doesn't sound like right now anything's really changed with it, but we can see what we can figure out.
Jamie, I think some specifics were entered on that. It
Okay.
said started giving a general script error at map substring.
Okay. So yeah. Does anyone know of any at map substring scripting errors?
I'm not aware of one
Okay.
off the top of my head.
No, it could be something else that's going on, and then it's like some other dependency, like a parameter that's being passed to the string has changed in some form. Maybe a data type has changed in the reload and it's triggering something. I'd look at the parameters that you're sending to map substring and confirm everything's fine with those.
Yeah, and I'll say one way to check to see if there's something that is different between releases is just check the release notes. There should be a reference to it if there is something that changed.
Absolutely. And for Qlik Sense, if you are all not aware, all of the release notes are now out in the community. So if you're out here in the community and you go to support and then release notes, you can find all the release notes here. You can filter out by, we'll be adding release notes for different products later on. For right now, they're all Qlik Sense Enterprise on Windows. But you can check the release. You can sort or filter, filter by the release name and then or the number and the version itself too. So you can easily look through it and find your release notes. They are just PDF attachments right now. So you just download or open up the PDF attachment within the post there, and you can review the release notes that way. Okay, perfect. Thank you, everyone. All right, so I would like to ask, what is the simplest way to give Analyzer access users an opportunity to reload the data in the given app they have access to, typically after uploads of some new data in the database and needs to reload data on demand without giving them professional access?
So the easiest way would be to give them an on-demand app generation solution. Because if you're an Analyzer user, you can operate on-demand app generation. So what you do is you program your selection app to reload a detailed app based on filters. And the filters are essentially just variables. So the variables could even be tables or fields. It's not just row filters. So the easiest way to do this would be to do it through on-demand app generation. And there's also dynamic views, which is also possible. So either of those would be the easiest way. They'd never get access to the data load editor or the data manager. So they're not getting access to a development capability. It's more a templatized data loading solution.
Or what about an API that they execute as a service persona, system persona?
They could do that, but they get that absolutely. But I would recommend investigating the productized solution first. And if for some reason it's not sufficiently flexible, then custom, API is totally possible too.
There was some limitation also when using the API, because you can't give update right to an analyzer. Even if you give them update right to a security rule, it won't actually allow it. So even if you try to reload the app through the API, it won't let you with your analyzer.
Interesting. Yeah, so reloads are really intended for professional users, aside from the on-demand use case.
Perfect. Thank you, everyone. That's some great collaboration on that question. All right, cool. So the next question is it possible to hide the Dev Hub for some users via a security rule? This is on February 2021 version.
So I don't believe this is the case. And the solution that we've always given is to put a reverse proxy in front of Qlik Sense, which would block the web endpoint that points to the Dev Hub, so that every communication, every browser interaction with Qlik Sense goes through a reverse proxy that allows everything through, but just filters out any /devhub, resource request. That's always been the easiest implementation. I don't believe we've added any kind of security rule. Damien or anybody else, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think so.
I think you're correct. I'm not aware there's any security rule settings to hide the Dev Hub.
There is a program file under Qlik's, the folder Qlik, folder Sense, folder client, folder assets, hub/hub.js. Hub.js is what you're looking for. I would say if you're going to make a change, back it up. There is a string, TID equals menu, BTN, menu button. And you can delete that string as well as the div around the button. And that should actually drop the button for the Dev Hub, and also help and about. But it was, as with anything, if you change that, upgrades will overwrite the change. So, but that's something that you can look at. And can I post this link to the community in the chat?
Yeah, absolutely. So if they remove that, will it remove it for everyone then? And then anyone that does need the Dev Hub needs to have like a direct link to it?
Well, that's
or-
true. Yeah, yeah. So it will remove it from the Dev Hub, so
Okay.
from the hub, and then they'll have to have the link to it.
Okay. Sounds good. Hopefully that helps. All right. Let's see. So back to the truncate question that we had. Let me find it and I'll just reread it really quick. They said, when replicating from DB2 to SQL Server, we have noticed that Qlik occasionally truncates one or more SQL Server tables. Does the Qlik software have a setting where the SQL Server truncate can be avoided? We want to perform operations on the SQL Server table that cannot be used with truncate. Someone did respond, one of the attendees, that if that person's using Qlik replicate for the replication, the truncate statement can be managed in the task settings. So that might be something to look at if they're using Qlik replicate. All right. So this question is something they were doing in QlikView and now want to know how they can do it in Qlik Sense Client Manage. So on QlikView, we could install a web server in other countries or areas to enclose the server for the users. What's the best way to do the same in Qlik Sense Client Managed? So for a user located in Asia, in the US, and in Europe, for example, the customer wants to have a single environment, single node or multi-node located in Europe.
Okay, so our best practice is that for performance reasons, it's best to have a local environment for regional users. So in this case, we've got Asia, US, and Europe. We would recommend 3 different sites: one for Asia, one for US, and one for Europe, so that the users can interact locally. With Qlik Sense, you cannot put a Qlik Sense proxy in one region and the Qlik Sense central node in another. The reason is it needs SMB file access to this shared persistence location with a latency of less than 4 milliseconds. And we recommend the same data center. So it's very unlikely you'd get that kind of consistent performance IO when you distribute your nodes that far away. So in this case, I would recommend an independent Qlik site in each of the regions where your users are. And if not, just put it in one region, and the faraway users would have to take a performance hit as they use the application.
Thank you, Johnny. Okay. Does anyone have anything else to add on that, or is that good? Okay. All right. So I'm not sure what this one is in reference to. Mike, it looks like you're going to answer this, or I don't know. But how would we use dynamic views for this use case?
Yeah, so I just interpreted the question as, how do you use dynamic views?
Okay.
If there's something else that if there's more detail to the question, I might have missed it. But
I think it's the analyzer question, Mike. How do analyzers? It's the analyzer question. How do analyzers refresh the app? So it's a follow-up. Instead of using ODAG, how would you use dynamic views for this use case?
Okay, well, so it's similar to ODAG in that you set up your view, and the table will refresh based on the parameters that you have set in that extension, ultimately. So instead of opening a brand new app separately, what it's doing is it's isolating it to a table, and it's refreshing within or one chart object, and it's refreshing within that chart object once your criteria is met to filter down the data.
Okay. Anything else, anyone? Yep. Okay. Perfect. Thank you, Mike. All right. So, so this is back to the map substring error. The script error says map substring could not load all rows. It limits the number of rows. The logic was working fine before the February 2021 upgrade. Any alternate function which can work in a similar way as map substring works.
I would have to look into that one a little bit more.
Yeah, I think if this person either wanted to create a case with Qlik support, or if they wanted to put a post in the community, you can send us the link to the community post. You can tag me in it. My handle is @Jami_Gregory. I can put it in the chat. You can tag me in it and we can follow up with you on that. So that's my, I put it in the chat there. So that's my community username. You can tag me in the post. And then also digital@qlik.com is the email address, or if you need to email any suggestions on sessions or anything like that, you can do so digital@qlik.com. Right now, I just want to bring to everyone's attention that on the screen, I have a couple of things that I want to point out. The next session is on July 27th. It is on Qlik Sense mobile. And we don't have the registration link just yet, but it is coming. You can check out the events and webinar page, and you can also subscribe to those pages or the Talk to Experts Tuesday. I do have the QR codes here for each page if you want to take a look at them, either bookmark them, or again, you can subscribe for notifications. So when events get posted, you'll get an email letting you know that a new event has been posted. If I just go there really quickly, I'll just show you. So if we go to support programs and then Talk to Experts Tuesday, we have sessions lined up. We just need to get the registration links put up for them, but you can definitely click subscribe here and subscribe to those. You can manage all of your notifications, of course, in your profile. So just wanted to bring everyone's attention to that. All right, so let's see, what's the next question? Okay, we went through that one. I think we're still talking about the dynamic views. Would another solution be the use of a service account for end users to run their refresh, which I think is something, Johnny, did you mention that? Someone mentioned that, or Mike, was it you?
All right, when I was talking about the API, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say, I mean, it's kind of a gray area because technically, if another account could do it, but at a point you're bypassing the license terms for a user that shouldn't have the reload capability based on their license. So within the confines of how the licensing works, I would say, the on-demand app generation and the dynamic views are what are designed for allowing analyzer reloads.
Mm-hmm.
They said, I see.
You don't want the license police after you.
And dynamic views actually uses, in client managed, dynamic views uses on-demand app generation under the hood anyways.
Right.
So I would try out on-demand app generation first, make sure you can get that working. And if that works, then it's a stepping stone to trying dynamic views. And you can pick the user interface, the usability. So, pick the usability that you like the most, whether it's ODAG or dynamic views.
Perfect.
And then Jamie, there's more follow-up on the DevHub question. So yes, if you change the file, it's for everyone.
Yep, it is for everyone. And then there is another question, a follow-up question on that as well. Can you share any documentation around that, please, hiding the DevHub?
I think I put it in the chat and the Q&A.
Okay, let me find that. I will put it in the chat for everyone, just in case they didn't see it in there. So I just put the link for the documentation that Mike shared. So if there's any more questions on that, just let us know. We answered that one. We got a thank you. Okay. So the next question is, using a reverse proxy locally and caching, could it be a solution for static files, at least and not data and the WebSocket? I think that was a follow-up to another question.
Yeah, that was a follow-up to having a local web server in one region and then the main server in another. So it's certainly possible to put a reverse proxy in a remote geographic region to the Qlik environment. It could help with static files, I agree. Especially the QMC, which doesn't use WebSockets. The benefit of using it for hub usage, which uses WebSockets and is going to push data back and forth, it's less so. I mean, if you do a Chrome DevTools trace, you can see the volume of data being moved back and forth as you open the QMC or open the hub or open an app. It'll tell you how many megabytes of information is going back and forth. And you can also see the breakdown, whether it's just images or whether it's other stuff. So there's no general product recommendation we can give as to the location of reverse proxy. You'll have to just sort of reverse engineer it and see how much volume and benefit it'll give you. But use the Chrome DevTools because it shows all the communication and the amount of information, static files versus other stuff.
Perfect. Great. Thank you. Hopefully that helps. If you have any more questions, just let us know. Okay. And the next question, is it possible to hide the selections button located on the top right-hand corner from a published app?
Yeah. Hey, Hugo. It's been a while. So in short, I think you can remove that bar, which includes the search, with some CSS. Outside of that, a workaround you can use to modify what results they're seeing there. You could in the smart search, you can limit fields to include with a search include, and then your field list, and that, or to exclude, there's search exclude. And you could do something similar with, and what we're talking about is the client selection tool. You can set a high prefix or a suffix, or you can tag fields with $ hidden, and so that way you're at least limiting the number of fields that are visible to them. Because you may already be aware with master items, it does sort of obscure the rest of the fields, but then under the hood they can still see, like if they were to go into the function editor, or if they were to go in the client selection tool, they can still see the rest of the fields. To directly address those fields, you would be you could hide them using the prefixes or tags. Let me put this link in the chat as well. Let's see. I'll send it to Jamie. Do you want me to send it to you and then you manage the links, or do you want me to just post it directly?
You can put it in the chat if you want.
All right.
Just make sure it's all panelists and attendees.
Right.
Perfect. All right, so someone's saying that they looked at the hiding the dev hub link, but they couldn't get it to work. So I wonder if
the community suggestion?
Yeah.
Well, without the JavaScript there, I don't see how it would show.
Yeah. Unless something has been moved or something or changed. But we can, so I mean, I'm more than happy to take it offline and and test it out and see what I can figure out as well. And we can respond back in the community thread with our findings.
Thanks, Jamie.
Yeah, absolutely. I didn't promise when it would be, but I'll work on it.
Get
All
right
right.
on.
Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Next question. I am trying to configure the use of scalability tools, and I can't evolve in the QMC settings. My environment is licensed by core, so even though I can create the virtual proxy, then I can't create the access rule and the licensing part because there's no such option there. I believe because the environment is licensed by core. Does anyone know how to solve this? Kind of a tricky question. I think it was translated.
You don't really need to do anything here, I believe, because it's a core license, and the main purpose of adding those license assignment rules was to be sure that the users that come in from the scalability tool get assigned a license so that you can perform your tests. So if it's a core license, you just don't need that step to get it to work.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. It's not about authentication like that, whether you use header authentication or other authentication, like that's different. The license part is just an extra step. If you have a user-based license model, which most people have, then you have to do dynamic assignment. But if you don't have a user-based model, then there's no license assignment needed. So you could skip the step and it should work. But if you're having issues, then what I would suggest is go to the scalability tools resource and post it in community for more details about that. Or you could post a follow-up question in the chat here, in the Q&A, I mean.
Perfect. Okay, great, thank you. So I am new to Qlik and was questioned to update our installation. How can I detect the user that runs the Qlik Sense services?
And under the services control panel, it would be all the Qlik services. It would show the account.
Okay, perfect. Hopefully that helped. All right, so this is another question. I think it was kind of related to, it works in QlikView this way, so how does it work in Qlik Sense? So let's go through the question. It's kind of a long one, bear with me. Since bookmarks are stored in the main application of a QVF file, how do they get retained when we republish the app? As far as I know, when the app is republished in the stream, it's a QVF file that gets replaced. But the bookmarks which were present, the old published app gets retained, the republished app, and those bookmarks were not present in the application file, which is recently deployed. Can someone help me in understanding this? How is this managed in Qlik Sense? So I think they just want to know how the bookmark is retained when they republish an app.
So those are app objects that are associated to the published app. Now, if you have a new version of the app, like maybe it has a new data model or it has a new sheet or something, and you want to update the app, when you have to do a publish operation. And when you publish in the management console, there's a checkbox that says replace. So you check the checkbox that says replace, and then you pick the app that you want to replace. And when you replace, what happens is that you take your new Qlik app and you merge it with all the other app objects, personal app objects, community app objects that existed in the already published app, and everything's retained. The only time you have an issue is, let's say the app object was dependent on something, like let's say the bookmark was using a specific filter. If the filter's now no longer there, like the data value or the field, then it won't work. but everything being the same, the app objects are retained when you specifically elect to replace.
Perfect. Hopefully that was helpful for that person. Okay. All right. So everyone, again, we have about 19 minutes left in the session. If you have any more questions, make sure you're using the Q&A panel to get your questions answered by our experts. And we'll just keep on rolling it until we don't have any more questions.
Hey, Jamie, I'm just going to give a quick update on the Qlik Sense for Windows and support for groups within OpenID Connect.
Perfect.
Using Okta. So I did follow up Hugo on that question, and the development team actually is trying this out as we speak. It should work. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy on an email with the right product manager who's actually working directly with development, so we can get back to you as soon as they finish that testing to let you know how they configured it.
Perfect. Great. Thank you, Kathy. And Hugo says, fantastic news. Perfect. All right. So next question, can Qlik Sense Enterprise for Windows be hosted on the same machine as QlikView 12.5?
I don't believe it's supported.
Yeah, it's definitely not supported. Would it work? Maybe. I think it gets confusing with all the service accounts and things like that. And if you look at all of our prereqs for any of our software platforms, they all say that they require individual dedicated machines to run. But for some reason, I want to say that I don't even think you can really get them to install. I really don't think you can. I feel like it's something I tried a long time ago. All right, next question. How does Qlik Sense engine determine what hypercube to create? When will it create the hypercube? When the user clicks on the tab or what? So if the hypercube existed, will Qlik Sense still store user result cache?
That's an interesting question. I don't know if I know the exact answer on the hypercube. I want to say the entire data model is a hypercube, but I'm not positive. I mean, ultimately, it is in memory, and you're looking at bit stuff pointers to unique values, and as you open data sets or you look at columns and rows, that information does become cached, which gives rise to the potential to do cache warming if you have larger data sets and you wanted to make that data more readily accessible. I mean, you might notice, like when you do a search for the first time, if you have a large data set, it takes a while to crunch and then the search results become available. And then the next time you do the same search, it's much faster, and that's because it's caching. So, but without looking into the details on actually how Qlik is a hypercube, I'm not positive on that part of it. I do know, like if you're doing advanced analytics and you're calling R or Python, it would generate a hypercube of that data set and bring it in on the fly. I mean, sorry, I don't have a better answer on the actual hypercube aspect of it, but in terms of how Qlik runs in memory, I think that hopefully covers what you were looking for.
Perfect. If there's any more follow-up to that, just let us know in the Q&A, and we can follow up on that. Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
So this question is more related, I think, to Qlik alerting. We'll go ahead and read it. If anyone has any thoughts on it, we can let this person know. We need some help on Qlik alerting configuration. We installed alerting in a new server, and when we import the Qlik Sense certificate and try to connect from Qlik alerting server, it gives an internal error socket closed, and I'm not sure how to resolve this.
So I don't know the exact solution, but there was an STT webinar where the topic was troubleshooting alerting setup. And I just took a look at that resource, and it had several several things to check and resources to look through. So if nobody has anything more specific, I would say check there first. I put the link in the Q&A. And Jamie, do you have to copy that into the chat for it to share?
Yeah, I would put it in the chat if you can.
Okay. There it is. And I'll share it with all attendees.
The other thing as well, I actually did a quick search on it as well. I don't know if you happen to be using Gmail with this, but there was a posting on this as well regarding Gmail and two-step authentication with some links. I just put that into the chat.
Perfect. Great. Thank you, everyone. So there's a couple links out there. Check them out if you can, and just let us know if that helps. Something else you might want to try as well is just if those links don't help, you might just want to go to the community here and go to data. No, Qlik alerting is under Qlik data analytics, Qlik Sense, and then alerting here, and you can post there. Again, we do have moderators out there in the Qlik community that can help you get your question answered, and then again, just our user base in general, they're very, very helpful. So you can always post something out there. Okay, great. Thank you, everyone. And that looks like, yeah,
some content on the hypercube in the
Perfect.
chat. It's to our Qlik.dev. So it gives you some more technical programmatic background into how the hypercube is working and what it's doing when you're retrieving data.
Perfect. Thank you, Mike.
You're welcome.
Okay. So let's see, next question. We've had a scenario that seems like a bug, but I would like the experts to weigh in. We often duplicate a published app that contains attached files, Excel files, to our work stream to make edits, such as removing some of the attached files and uploading new files. When we do this and republish, the files that we deleted from the app in our work stream reappear in the republished copy. Republishing essentially doesn't update the removal of attached files.
I might need to hear that again.
Yeah, I can read it again. So we often duplicate a published app that contains attached files, like Excel files, to our work stream to make edits, such as removing some of the attached files and uploading new files. When we do this and republish, the files that we deleted from the app in our work stream reappear in the republished copy. Republishing essentially doesn't update the removal of attached files.
I haven't run into that one yet.
It almost sounds like the app object thing, where it's taking existing objects that already exist. So when you replace it, retains those. It almost sounds like the files are acting just like app objects do. You know, so you kind of want to preserve your personal objects or community objects, and it's preserving the files. But I don't know for sure.
So in effect, you've removed them, but then published the app to a new stream, and you're still able to retrieve data from those attached files, even though you've removed them. Yep.
You said yes, exactly, or they said yes, exactly.
That's interesting. I'd have to look for some documentation on that to see what the expected behavior is.
Okay. So someone else is responding that it's normal behavior as the attached files are stored directly in the Qlik Sense share folder under the Qlik app ID. So that was somewhat an attendee that said that. So again, we can take it offline and kind of look into it.
Yeah, would
And
be good
see-
to have that on community and
Yeah, maybe put something in community again. If you put something out in community, tag me in the post and we can follow up with you there. The question's coming in as anonymous, so I don't know who is asking the question, so we can't follow up with you directly. So if you post something in community, forums, data analytics, you can do like app development or something like that. And
here's a detail
yeah.
on this one, Jamie. So
Yeah.
when you delete a table based on an attached file in a data manager, the table's deleted from the data model, but the attached data file remains in the app, as Mr. Anonymous or Miss Anonymous said. You can delete the data file from the app permanently by going into the data manager and then clicking the plus, click attach files, and then delete the file, and then that should delete it permanently.
Okay. So hopefully that helps.
Yeah. Yeah, so at that point, then you won't be able to reload the app until you remove references in the data manager or in the load script. And so you can edit that in the data load editor. So this is actually right in the help. I'll put this in the chat also.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So it looks like they said we usually delete it from the data load editor under our section called attached files.
Yeah, this is saying do it in data manager specifically, and then hit the plus.
Oh, they meant to say under our data connection attached files. So Mike will post the link in the chat, and it's there already. Hopefully you can see that. If you just take a look at it, make sure you're following those instructions. If you already have a case on this, or if you haven't created a case, you probably could, but if you want to message me first, you can do that as well. That's fine. You're welcome. Okay. There was another question. I think someone responded to it, but I'm going to go ahead and find it really quick so we can read it out loud. Can you confirm how the analyzer capacity license works? I mean, how minutes are consumed?
Yeah, and I did respond to that. I'll actually put it into the chat for everyone to see. There's a pretty well documented knowledge base article out there that talks about how those minutes are consumed and how that capacity is consumed. And then there's some links to some additional resources as well.
Perfect. So take a look at that if you can, and just let us know if you have any more questions on that.
I'll just say, just to summarize,
Yeah.
you're measuring in 6-minute blocks, right? So if you're active, then you're consuming a 6-minute block. If you're not active the next 6 minutes, then you're not consuming a 6-minute block. So being active is making selections, navigating within the app, actual activity. So let's use an example. If you're in there for 30 minutes, but you're only active in the first 6 minutes and then the third set of 6 minutes, so you sort of skip 6 minutes in between, you went to the bathroom or took a phone call or something like that, and then you're done and you've walked away from your computer completely after minute 18, you're only consuming 2 6-minute blocks, not the 30 minutes, not the 30 minutes until you eventually time out.
Okay, perfect. Great. Thank you, Mike. All right, so I think this is the last call for questions. We have about 5 minutes left. So if anyone else has any questions, please use the Q&A panel. And the next question is, I would have a related question to the RAM consumption of Qlik. Imagine I have a 1 GB app. Today, when looking YRVM's memory gets consumed more than expected, I observed that after I open that 1 gig app, some amount of memory gets consumed and stays used even after I close the app and log out. Is this expected behavior?
Yeah, that is. And I'll share my screen here.
Sure.
Actually, it's asking for someone else to
Yep,
stop
I can
sharing.
stop.
Okay, great. Thanks very much.
Mhm.
So what it does is it's going to cache for you. So if you go in the QMC, here's my QMC. I go to engines. I click my engine. And if you have apps selected on the right, you'll have an app cache time. And this is in seconds. So the app will stay in memory for the app cache, for anybody who comes in. So I forget my math here, but wait, 28,800 divided by, oops, 28,800 divided by 60 seconds is 480 minutes. Divided by 60 is 8 hours in this case. So if I have this, that's 8 hours. So after 8 hours of the last activity, the last session, then the memory would be released. Okay, so it's set at the engine level, and if you have multiple engines, just shed it at each one, however you want. Just be aware that if it's not cached in memory and it's a large app, the first user to awaken the app will have to wait for it to unwrap and like load into memory from disk. So there'll be like a first user, like a hit time, So for that reason, it's quite common for people to warm the cache. There's a utility in GitHub under EA Power Tools to do a cache warm, so that there's no first hit user in that situation. But if you're concerned, if you're trying to solve, trying to squeeze people into or you're having to pay for RAM usage or something, whatever it is, you could reduce this and first users would take a hit opening the app.
Okay, great.
Restarting the services also flushes it, just as an FYI.
Yep, exactly. Perfect. Thank you. And they said, thank you. That was very helpful. Perfect. All right, everyone. I think that is it. We haven't gotten any more questions in the Q&A panel. So I hope we were able to help you all today. Don't forget, our next session is July 27th. Let me share my screen again really quickly. July 27th, it's on Qlik Sense mobile. You can scan the events and webinar page or the Talk to Experts Tuesday page. Make sure you subscribe to those pages to be alerted when new events are posted. A huge thanks to all of our panelists, Johnny, Kathy, Mike, and Damien. You all did a fantastic job. And just a reminder that if you fill out that survey at the end of this session, you will be entered into a raffle to win some Qlik swag. So good luck, everyone. Please fill out that survey, and we will see you all next month. Have a great day, everyone. Bye. Thank you.